And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with us on the Doing All Right. Want to say real fast, Mr. Broaddus, happy belated, technically I text you, but happy belated Father's Day to you, sir. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
I take fathering real serious because I had a whole bunch of men in my life raising me. So, you know what I'm saying? Just publicly, I like to hold down the fathers. You know, everybody hold up mama, you know what I'm saying? So here on the Doing All Right, I want to hold up all the fathers. Shouts out to all of the fathers and pappies and daddies watching the show and all that. Shouts out to my guy, Joel. Shouts out to my guy, Joel. Joel is a big fan of the show, Brian Broaddus, and he's an exceptional pappy. And me and him had a conversation over the weekend, and boy, I was just inspired by the level of pappy that some of these men be upholding, man. So shouts out to all the pappies and daddies out there, and you, Mr. Broaddus. Shouts out to you.
Thank you very much, Voch. I appreciate you saying that. I do appreciate your text yesterday. It was, it's always nice. One of the pictures, if you do follow along in social media with me, I always say it's one of my favorite pictures I take every year is my 86-year-old dad this year, my 21-year-old son, and then me all together. And I've got them all, the collections, every time we've done that over the years. And you never take those pictures for granted, but it's nice to know and that, you know, that how much your dad means to you in a lot of ways. I know there's some folks out there that probably, you know, struggles with some of those things, but God, I just hope that, you know, if you're a parent yourself, that you love your kids so much because it is a great, great joy. No question.
Yeah,
no
that's
question.
Hard. That's hard. Brian Broaddus, you
got a game?
Man, look, Brian, it's June, man. And we up here coming up with stuff, and Brian Broaddus walked in with his chest out and said, "Look, Voch Lombardi, I got a game for you today, sir.
Yeah.
Don't you fret." So please, what you got for us?
Well, thank you. Before I start, too, I want to throw something out there, Voch. Really excited that the Doing All Right is going to be in Oxnard together.
Yes, sir.
The 21st through the 29th.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Of July. So super excited that you and I'll be chopping it up among the practices, checking it all out, visiting with people on field interviews, talking to folks, talking to scouts, talking to everybody, and putting our own eyes on this, and then having shows at night too, getting ready for us to launch our adventure with Crown Global Media.
For sure.
So really, really excited that we got you organized on that, and looking forward to having you in Oxnard and doing a lot of great things out there with the practices. It's a great way to get a really good idea about this football team. So excited. Very excited for you to be a part of that.
Tap in with us if you see us. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Walk up, shake our hand, we'll shake yours back, and thank y'all for supporting. But Brian, you got a game for today, man.
I do got a game.
Come on.
I got a game, and I hope this isn't too harsh, but this is what we do.
That's what we do.
It's called Last Chance, No Chance. Last Chance, No Chance.
Okay.
And this might be a little bit deeper. This is not your normal, okay, well, how about the starters? And I'm going to try and go into this thing a little deeper. I'm going to try and maybe why it will be this guy's last chance to make this team.
Yes, sir.
Or why no chance he's going to not make this team. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sounds fair.
First one right off the jump. Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn. Last chance, no chance.
You know, Brian, this is interesting. I'm not going to ride the fence, but for the sake of content, I will give both sides.
You should.
And then I'm going to give my answer.
Okay.
It's hard to evaluate these running backs at practice because they stay up, they don't tackle to the ground. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when we see these running backs and it's time to evaluate them, Brian Broaddus, it'll be in preseason games.
Right.
It's the problem, Brian. Deuce Vaughn go crazy in preseason games. Deuce Vaughn puts together some hellified film in preseason games. Now, regular season, man, something different happens. Mike McCarthy get a little goofy. We don't get a lot of creativity. I just dropped a video today about Turpin and his usage. Everybody go check that out if you haven't. I don't know what's holding Deuce Vaughn back in the regular season, Brian. But it seems like when it's time to make the team and preseason games matter, Deuce Vaughn makes it.
Makes the team.
He makes it.
He does.
I don't know how the hell Ezekiel Elliott gets more looks than Deuce Vaughn. But Deuce Vaughn makes a compelling argument in the preseason games of why he should be on this team. This is what makes it real tricky for Deuce Vaughn, Brian Broaddus. Deuce Vaughn is your catcher, shifty, bursty runner. You just drafted one of them that catch a little better, probably a little shiftier, very much so faster, and he's 3 inches taller. Run better routes than him. You know what I'm saying? And with the running back room, you want to limit the redundancies. You know what I mean? You just don't want to have 2 small pass catch and shifty catch. You want to switch. You know what I mean? A part of me feels like I don't think Deuce Vaughn got a hard road to try to make the team.
I agree.
He'll have to be like a return man and like special lad. He ought to be a special return man, but I don't think there's room for Deuce here, Brian. But if it come down to preseason games, he'll have some of the best games on the roster. So the Cowboys definitely have a decision to make, but if it's my gut feeling right now, this administration chose Jadon Blue. Jadon Blue is a Schottenheimer, Clayton Adams baby. So I can only assume that Jadon Blue gets the nod there over him. So I'm going no chance.
Yeah, I think no chance as well. I just feel like that to me, and not that this running back room is strong. It's not. It really isn't. And, and you're absolutely right about Deuce Vaughn. I think his height is a problem. Yeah. And it limits really what he could do for you on special teams other than a returner, as a, he can, it's hard for him as a blocker in the line of scrimmage. It's hard for him, because of his, it's not the fact that he's not willing or going to try. I mean, the effort and everything like that, you could say all that's positive. His lack of height is an issue when you're asking him to play like as a defensive player. And that's what special teams are. They're really a lot of defensive players. And, you have to be able to get off blocks, you have to be able to, run down the field, make plays that way. You got to be able to block yourself. So I just think it's going to be very, very difficult. I'm not a huge fan of this running back room, but I think Deuce Vaughn's going to get left out because of what they did with Blue.
Brian, hypothetically, right? Just knock on some wood here. What if we get to camp and Blue still has a fumbling issue and the coaches don't quite trust him yet? Then what? What does that mean for Deuce Vaughn?
I still think that they would keep Blue over Vaughn. I think Vaughn's lost sponsors in that room. Yeah. They'll if he does have a fumbling problem, they'll keep him on the roster. They'll keep him inactive, and that's probably what they will do. I think they know what they have in Deuce Vaughn.
Sure. I
really do. I think it's a no chance there. Yeah. Jalen Brooks.
Man, Brian, for the sake of content, I'll make both arguments, Brian Broaddus. This is a little more easier than the last one, though, but I will make both arguments for the sake of it. I do think that these training camps are hard. I think they take a toll on you. I think they're very physical in nature. They're a bit of a grind. Also, the regular season can be tough. Also, building some sort of continuity and chemistry with Dak can be tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, it takes a while to get there. If Jalen Brooks has a shot, he's going to have to lean on those things.
Sure.
He knows how to have a decent camp and not get kicked off the team. He knows how to not drop passes in preseason games and lose his job there. And he's been in actual games. He's been in the NFL games before. He ain't do much when he was in there, but he was in there. Familiar with Dak. Familiar with Schottenheimer, really. Like, Schottenheimer's a year one head coach, but he's been here for 5. So he's familiar with Schotty. So if Jalen Brooks got a shot, he's going to have to lean on that. I think Flournoy is more talented than him. I think Trayshawn Holden is more talented than him. Trayshawn Holden got a hell of a sponsor.
He sure does.
Got a hell of a sponsor, Brian Broaddus. And it may come down to roles. Brian, this is what made it funky for everybody, right? I've already explained on my channel, so I won't do it again. But George Pickens being here bumped everybody down 2 slots, right?
Yeah, we've talked about this, yeah.
The one thing that we didn't have was a true X receiver. So the one thing that you can make an argument for Jalen Brooks and Flournoy and them is that they play X receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Not only do you got an X receiver now, Brian Broaddus,
mm-hmm.
but you got a mother playing X receiver right now.
Mm-hmm.
So now, Brian, we go back to the redundancies. Remember them? Remember them?
Yeah.
Remember them redundancies?
No. Mm-hmm.
If you're Jalen Brooks and you play like George Pickens, but you just like a worse George Pickens, that's what Jalen Brooks kind of. He's a big physical kind of guy. You know what I mean? He's not as efficient, but he's a prototype kind of. You know what I'm saying? He's a cardboard cutout of what George Pickens is. So if you're not that, you kind of bump down the list a little bit. So now you got to separate yourself from Flournoy and Holden. Flournoy is a little more explosive than Jalen Brooks. But where I think they're going to try to squeeze Holden in, Brian, when you watch Holden's Oregon tape, he's a real good blocker, Brian.
Sure.
He's a damn good blocker. And I know we're going to be running duo, but Clayton Adams didn't forget how to crack toss and pin and pull.
They were practicing it with guys with guys in the backfield that can run those plays.
So
Lamb, Turpin, guys like that. Yep.
So you need wide receivers that know how to do that.
Yeah.
Brian Broaddus, I wouldn't be surprised if Trayshawn, if the battle came between Trayshawn Holden and Flournoy. I wouldn't be surprised if it was between those two, and maybe Trayshawn Holden wins it out because he got the sponsor, and I think he has the better tape out of those guys. So
sure,
I think Jalen Brooks out of here, Brian Broaddus, no chance.
Yeah, I think no chance as well. I like how you walked me through all the things that
that's what I do.
Brooks has to be able to do.
Yes, sir.
He has to be able to draw from the experiences that he has.
Yep.
He's also a veteran player.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen this with veteran receivers before. When they start to feel like that they're not going to make the team,
yep,
they start to get hamstring problems and things like that.
Mm.
And then they don't practice.
Mm.
And then they're looking for the injury settlement. You know what I'm saying? I've seen veteran receivers do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They start to see other receivers step up. Maybe they drop a pass in the one-on-one period. Maybe they're not getting as many reps. Maybe they make a mistake. Maybe they miss a block on a crack toss. The guy that should make this team is Brooks because of his experience.
Yeah.
He should. Everything that you walked me through is absolutely correct. But I also feel like, though, if things start to go a little south for him, we won't see him practice. We won't see, like, okay, now we're getting to the point, veteran player, let's put him on the injury reserve and let's injury settle him and move on. Yeah. I think the players, the receivers ahead of them, all the things that you just mentioned are good. I don't think it's going to be enough for him.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think it's going to be enough. I think the other guys are going to be better players, and it's going to affect him.
Mingo makes it tough, but Pickens made it hard for everybody. So I think this might be his last run too. Yeah, for sure. Which is one more thing too, Brian. One more thing too.
Yeah,
which is different than like Jalen Cropper's fight.
Yeah,
because Jalen Cropper's different from those guys.
Yeah,
he's different from Flournoy, Holden, and Jalen Brooks. Cropper can step in and be like a slot return dude, and not even be a part of that fight. So in real life, guys like Jalen Cropper got an easier path than Jalen Brooks does. I just wanted to add that to it, Brian.
Agreed. John Stevens.
Man, Brian Broaddus, man, it's interesting, man. You know, I've been not championing, but I've been alerting the people. Sorry, I got Fairweather from Auburn, our undrafted tight end Rivaldo Fairweather from Auburn. I've been alerting the people. And I think we go back to redundancies, right? That's going to be a buzzword when I'm at camp and y'all may have me on the radio. I'm going to be saying this word a bunch. I'm going to be on the break. I'm going to be saying this word a bunch because it matters in some of these rooms. Redundancies, man. You don't want to have too many of the same guy in there. You want to mix it up a little bit. Fairweather being here means something as the jump ball kind of vertical kind of red zone dude that matters here. John Stevens has been season injury hurt twice.
Sure has.
But you want to know where he got the edge at though, Brian Broaddus? I remember last year, Lunda Wells came out and said, "Oh yeah, man, John Stevens gonna make this team."
Mm-hmm.
I remember Stephen Jones before even mentioning the rookies that was drafted. Hey man, even John Stevens gonna mess around and make this team. Stephen Jones said his name. You know what I'm saying? Man, Brian, I bet they rooting for him.
Sure.
And sponsorship matters.
It does matter.
The front office, Lunda Wells and them, I think they rooting for John Stevens because they excited about him. You know what I'm saying? And if you an undrafted kid, I mean, you new here, but there's like a mental image of what John Stevens can be and what he has done. Bro, you just got to stay healthy, John Stevens. If you could just stay out that medical room, man, we got a spot for. They begging for John Stevens to stay healthy, Brian Broaddus.
Yeah.
Man, come on, man. If you just keep your knee, we've seen you make these plays. We know what you can do with Dak because all these guys look great when Dak throwing the ball. But he brings something different in that tight end room. He's different from Brevin. He's different from those guys. He's different from Jake and Luke and all those guys. So I think Rivaldo Fairweather is going to get a fair shot. But Brian, I personally think they're going to give John Stevens every single opportunity to claim what he should have gotten the last 2 years, his rookie campaign and last year, Brian. I think this is his last shot though. I don't, look, you can't tear another one. Brian Broaddus, no. you can't tear another one. If you 3 years in with 3 torn ACLs, bro, it ain't nothing else hey man, if you need something, let us know. Put my name down as a reference. I got you. You can't tear 3 in 3 years. But I do think that they vouching for him, and I think that they rooting for him, Brian Broaddus. So I think John Stevens got another shot. I think he got one last shot, but he can't squander this one.
I think it's passed him by.
Let's go, Brian.
I think it's passed him by. I think it's passed him by. I think they really, the first year it was, boy, what a missed opportunity that was.
Hell yeah.
Then last year it was like, boy, this player's just had some really awful luck.
Bad luck.
I think with what they've done with your Auburn tight end, I think that's the new thing. I think that's going to be the new way of doing things here. I think to me that when you look at this tight end group as a whole, I watched Princeton Fant the other day.
Yeah.
Does nothing for me. Ferguson, Spanford, Schoonmaker. I think it's going to come down to Stevens and Fairweather.
Yeah.
I think that they've now focused on, I think John Stevens, his window is closed because of the injuries. And I think that the Cowboys are kind of looking at that as like, well, damn, it was a nice go while we had it. We just couldn't get the guy healthy. I think Fairweather's going to be the guy over John Stevens would be my. So I think that it's a shame that the injuries got him. Fairweather's going to make this team. John Stevens isn't. So I'm going to say no chance on that one.
Well, Brian, Cowboy fan says this ain't necessarily Voch's point, but I'm just offering you pushback to somebody else's thing, Brian. What do you think? What do you think about this? This ain't me thinking, by the way. What do you think about, well, Brian Overshown got hurt twice and they drafted this James kid from Florida, and he looked just like Overshown as a blitzing will linebacker guy. What you got to say to that fan to say that, Brian Broaddus?
The fan that says that right there is that when I personally watched Overshown at Texas, I saw a player with instincts and sideline to sideline, downhill player. James to me, I think James was just going to be a will linebacker. I thought he was just going to be, okay, you just got to let him run to the ball. Yeah. I think there's a lot of versatility with Overshown. That's my argument.
Sure.
I would, I'm watching a guy that was a former safety and all, at Texas and where he does and how he's played. I mean, he shows up.
Yeah.
I had a lot of questions about that Florida kid. I had a lot. Shamar James, you and I both did.
Yeah.
You and I both did, and we'll see how it plays out. I just think that when I watched Overshown's Texas tape, it was better than what Shamar James tape was.
Yeah.
Now, is it unfortunate that the thing about Overshown is we've seen him go out there and play?
Sure. Yeah. That's the answer. That's the real answer. Yeah. Overshown go out there and tear shit up.
We've seen, I'll never forget the first time that Overshown got hurt.
Yeah.
And it was a game in that preseason game, the last preseason game. I think there were 6 plays. He had 3 tackles.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God dang, they just lost one here.
Yep.
It's tough, but I think to me that the really, really big differences collegiately between the two is I just saw Overshown make more plays.
Yeah. That's definitely fair. I do agree. And I do think Fairweather got a great shot at this, because if I'm saying anybody's name, like I've been saying his name all off, say, hey man, look at Fairweather. He got an easy route. He just got to beat John Stevens. But I do think John Stevens being around for a little bit gives him a little bit of an advantage.
It's kind of like Brooks, gives him a little bit, knows the drill, knows where everything, knows it, all that.
We'll see.
TJ Bass.
Oh, Brian, brother. Brian, I would like to say it's a wrap for him. But I'm working on this film session, Brian, bro. I was working on this piece where I was going back looking at BB as a combo blocker. And one game I got a chance to watch TJ Bass at guard or whatever, right? And I was like, hey man, TJ Bass fighting for his life out there, man. Look at TJ Bass out there fighting for it. I was impressed with, because I normally think awfully of him, but it was just one game and TJ Bass was kind of bad for the rest of them. Brian, I don't see a world where TJ Bass get to come back. If you look at all the undrafted guys from this last couple of classes, Wanye, Marquise Bell, you look at Brock Hoffman, those guys got money to come back. Those dudes got undrafted free agent. I'll give you a little bit of money to come back. TJ Bass didn't get no money, did he? I don't recall TJ Bass getting no money. So I think that says what the organization thinks about him. And man, Brian, ain't nothing like good competition bumping everybody down. You ain't just go get a guard to bump everybody down. Like Sadiq Charles being here kind of make TJ Bass feel like he can fight for his life a little bit and beat him. But Tyler Booker bumps shit down. You know what I'm saying? So I think with that addition, I'm knock on wood, if anything, XYZ, I think Brock Hoffman will go right to right guard, and that'll be what the answer is. If anything happens elsewhere, I think Brock Hoffman will go to left guard. So like he's the swing interior dude. So now the Cowboys are like, all right, well, we got swing interior down. If Brock has to play guard and we need another center, then that'll be Shepley.
Yeah.
So now they're figuring tackle out. I don't think they're gonna be figuring out guard a whole bunch. So yeah, Brock may be fighting for like some practice squad type stuff. He may be fighting with, Charles to
TJ Bass.
TJ Bass. Pardon me. TJ Bass is gonna be fighting for his life because all these other guys seem like they got their job sealed up except for the tackles. TJ Bass, I don't know if there's enough room for him, Brian. Bro, it's just simply
do you think
too many numbers. Go ahead.
Do you think the fact that they're playing Nate Thomas at right tackle helps him at all?
So me and you had this conversation. I think Nate Thomas is just a right side player. Because even with our kid that we drafted in the early 7th round, Cornelius from Oregon, we watched him as a tackle and looked at him as a tackle, but Roger Goodell say he a guard, and the thing came across as a guard. That might be bad news for TJ Bass also. But I think what the Cowboys are doing is that they're creating sided players. I don't think they want to move guys to the other side. Because Chuma Doga technically wasn't your swing tackle last year. He was just your backup left tackle guy. I think Tyler Smith is your left guard. I don't think Tyler Smith will ever go anywhere else but left guard or left tackle. Hoffman may be your only guy that go both sides. But Cornelius might be Brian's gone. Okay, cool. There you go. Cornelius might be your right
Am I
side.
back with you?
Yeah.
Hello.
We good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you fine. For some reason, you stopped. I thought my stuff seemed like working. I don't know. You just maybe that's me. My apologies.
It's all good. We good over here. Cornelius is a right side player for you. I think Nathan Thomas is a right side, can play guard and tackle player for you. Austin Richards is a left guard, left tackle player for you. So Bass just gonna have to fight for his life.
Okay. How about Josh Butler?
Man, Brian, I was so out on the Cowboys last year. I ain't even noticed Josh Butler playing good. I was so mad at the Cowboys. I was just watching the game and doing post game shows, Brian. I was so sick. I ain't care about Josh Butler for real. But I did eventually go back and watch him, and I can understand why the Cowboys like him and why they would want him around. He did kind of make some plays, but I don't know if Josh Butler's going to be around in the big picture of this thing. I think even if Josh Butler was healthy right now, I think cornerback is an emergency. I don't think he's taking up a spot for you, and I don't think Josh Butler is keeping you from drafting some corner next year. I think even if he was healthy, I think they're looking at Kalen Carson over him. I think they're looking at Bland over him. They're looking at Revel over him. Hall over him. I think they're waiting on Diggs, and I still think they'll sign Gilmore over trusting Josh Butler, even if he was healthy. On that same token, I don't really see a reason to move on from him. Is this a contract year for him or something?
I gotta look that up myself. But
if he's a solid player, I don't think Josh Butler just get cut outright because they do like him. But I don't think he'll
his second year
guy. Yeah, man, Josh Butler. No, he's fine. Josh Butler be here. I just don't see Josh Butler contributing in real life for you. I talk about Josh Butler just like I talk about Keemon Hall. We don't want Keemon Hall to start, but
even though he was playing in the Thursday practice we got to watch, he was first. He was nickel number one.
He was first nickel. You don't want Keemon Hall to play, but it's cool to have Keemon Hall around because you saw him make a bunch of plays in camp, so you can maybe develop him. I think the same thing about Josh.
Tyrus Wheat.
I think it's a wrap for Tyrus Wheat. I think edge way too thick. Tyrus does have the advantage because he's played snaps before. I think that matters a lot more than what people give it credit for. Like, if you got film that I can actually go find of you playing in the NFL game and not doing terribly, I think that gives you an advantage over, some of these characters. But if this was any other edge room, man, if you didn't just draft Donovan, I think it'll be easier for him. But man, Micah's out here. You went to go sign Dante Fowler. You drafted Donovan. Sam's gonna be around.
Yeah. Too much.
Too edge is way too thick right now. Then you have your rundown guys. Now, Brian, let's be nuanced football guys here. If you remember Tyrus Wheat at Mississippi State, Tyrus Wheat was closer to a Donovan Ezeraku guy.
He was.
Than he is a Sam Williams guy. Tyrus Wheat was a linebacker for real.
Sure.
That played edge sometimes.
Sure.
So, man, maybe if you're trying to be slick and create this group of linebacker / pass rusher dudes, which is Micah, Donovan, then, Tyrus Wheat will fit right in that group. I don't look at Tyrus Wheat like a rundown guy like Marshawn and Peyton Turner. And I don't see him as a pure edge guy like Sam and Dante Fowler. I think he's one of them hybrid linebacker edge dudes. But I don't know if the league will use him that way. But he was that at Mississippi State.
But he was.
But it's probably a wrap.
I think you're right though about the depth at the edge.
Too much.
I mean, I think he's playing for the opportunity to maybe play for somebody else.
Yeah.
Is what I just think it's the position, and they'll probably be, you said knock on wood, the injury things and stuff like that. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But because it did happen to the edges last year.
Yeah.
So hopefully it doesn't this year. But I kind of think the position's too much.
Yeah.
The last guy I want to ask you about is Damone Clark.
Tell you something. I would have imagined that Damone Clark had one more shot. If anything about him is that he's very athletic. And when you have a linebacker whisperer coming to the party, then you would hope that he could look at the athletic guys and fix their mental defects or whatever, right? Because that's the weird thing about having linebacker guru, right? Or like linebacker whisperer is if you're the mental processing linebacker that don't run that fast, I don't know if it's that much that Eberflus can do for you.
Right.
Because Eberflus boosts your mentals or whatever, right?
Right.
So if you're Damone Clark, the argument you would make for him is that he's still athletic as all get out. Maybe Eberflus can take him and fix him a little bit and, put some mentals on him. My only response to that is that the Cowboys treated linebacker like an emergency. So the Cowboys went and signed the linebacker. They traded for a linebacker. They're waiting on Overshawn to come back. I think they like Louisville a whole bunch. I think it's going to be a steep climb for Clark. And the only way that I think he can fight his way in is if the Cowboys all of a sudden start using linebackers more often. But it's probably going to be a bunch of nickel up in here. It's going to be a bunch of it's going to be a bunch of two linebacker sets. And if I think I know Eberflus wants to get creative with how he used Micah and Donovan. So that's going to take up some linebacker slots. So I don't think Damone Clark going to be playing for the Cowboys this year.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's a shame. Hey, we've talked about him before. Give him credit for coming back from the back injury. That was a very, very difficult thing for him. I watched him play all his years at LSU. He doesn't look like the same player that played at LSU. Yeah. And maybe the back had something to do with that. But the lack of instincts and reactions and things like that are tough. He just doesn't have that ability. Eberflus talked about how quick guys react. Even talked about Sean Lee. He did an interview with Matt Mosley and Ed Warder, on their podcast about it. And so to me, I think that ship sailed on Damone Clark. So it's of the guys though that I mentioned. Of the guys, how would you say who out of that group? I mean, that you might have said no chance. Whether, if you had to think, is there one of the no chances that you think you would be really surprised that he made the team?
I'd be shocked at Deuce. I'd be really shocked at Deuce.
I think so too.
But I mean, if it comes down to preseason games, Deuce normally goes crazy in them.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Even if you look at Williams is a pass catching type guy that'll take reps from Deuce in that way. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
If Deuce made the team, I want to know how terrible were we everywhere else? How terrible was Miles? How terrible was Javonte if Deuce makes the team?
Right. Yeah. Like I said, I mean, all these guys, they all have some kinds of traits and stuff that could potentially help them land on the team.
Yeah.
I think the one guy, Wheat, I think is just in a too deep of a position there.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens with Butler. But the one that would surprise me is Deuce.
Yeah.
That would be the one. Even though I have a lot of questions about the running back position for this team. I just think his lack of height really limits him for what they need him to be able to do.
Yeah. Brian, we're having a conversation about the Cowboys pass rush depth and we're talking about Tyrus Wheat and all that. It made me want to go look up our old friend Isaiah Land. If you had to guess in these last 2 years how many sacks Isaiah Land got, how many do you think he got?
Oh, I have no idea. Is it single digits?
Yeah.
Remember Isaiah Land? We really liked him. He got Indianapolis claimed him off waivers. He's got 3.
Isaiah Land got 1 sack, Brian Bryce.
Yeah, I remember that. We were talking. I mean, everybody. We were. It was the gnashing of the teeth.
Yeah.
And the pitchforks at the fence.
I was hurt by Isaiah Land. He ain't done nothing.
He done nothing.
Played in a bunch of games, but he ain't done nothing since
done nothing.
Yeah. Brian Bryce, that was a fantastic game, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you very much. Hey, man. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be right back here tomorrow. Just because the Cowboys going to break don't mean that we do. We might miss a couple days here or there, miss a couple Fridays here or there, something like that. But we will be rocking and rolling. I was about to say, if you just tuning in, that ain't how podcasts work. But I'm gonna be at camp 21 through the 29th. So if you're gonna be there, then tap in with me, shake my hand, say what's up, fist bump, whatever you want to do. It is what it is. Follow Brian Broaddus for all those updates too. Just with Crown Global Media, just training camp, anything.
Doing well.
BRY getting Broaddus. Tap in with him. And I'm VOCHLONBARDI. We love y'all to pieces, man. And we'll catch y'all tomorrow. Same time, same place. Y'all hold it down for the Doski Woski. Until next time, all right? Crown.